Hello snowboarders of the internet, I am your host TC and this is Top 5s, the only weekly top 5 show in snowboarding that you watch when you know you're on a budget but you still need a pair of foot clamps. On today's episode we're going to be talking about the top 5 best bang for your buck bindings of the 24-25 season. Number 5 is the Battalion Chaos heel wrap. This binding is going to be great for that all-mountain freestyle rider, whether you're just beginning or you're that solid intermediate. You can't even be expert, but you're going to be really hurting for cash if this is the binding you're going towards. But overall, it is a great binding. You're going to have an Oxtec ankle strap. So what that means is this ankle strap is going to stretch, but as it stretches, it gets stronger. It really gets nice and rigid for you. It's not going to have any padding on it, however, so all that padding is going to be coming from your boot. On the toe strap, it does fit any shape toe box really well, so you don't have to worry. If you have a square toe box like myself, it is still going to grip. Now, keep in mind these bindings are extremely damp just because they are Battalion. Battalion makes some of the most damp bindings out there, and this binding is no different. They didn't really skimp on anything on it, even though it is coming in at a great price for it. They still loaded up with a bunch of adjustability, from the ankle straps to how they sit to pretty much everything, where you can actually adjust that high back as well and just get everything perfectly dialed for you. Number 4 is the Union Strata. If you watched this video a few years ago, this binding wouldn't be on it, but they keep just decreasing the price on it, which I absolutely love. This binding is going to fit into that all-mountain freestyle category where you do have stiffer high backs on it. So when you're going heel to toe, it is nice and responsive, but with that giant footbed underneath you, when you go side to side, it feels very surfy. Now I will mention with that giant footbed, if you have a bigger boot, you're going to want a wider board for sure, just because it might overhang on the side of that board. But it is still a really good binding where you can adjust that heel cup, get your boot nice and centered. These straps are really awesome on it, where on the outside of the strap, you do have some padding. I believe that's for when you do get that last click syndrome like myself, you don't actually feel that ratchet, where it is very comfortable on you still. But on the inside, there isn't going to be any padding. It's actually going to have a cutout, so that allows you to get side to side a little bit easier and not feel quite as much resistance. The toe straps will fit any boot really well, so you don't have to worry about it whether you want to rock it over the toe or on top of the toe. It does just fine, and this binding is awesome for the price because, as I mentioned before, it used to be mid 300s and they just keep shrinking that price down and helping you guys out. Number 3 is the Fix Magnum. I really love all Fix bindings at this point just because of how minimalistic they are, and this one is no different. It is really straightforward. You have a few screws on it to adjust everything from the ankle strap to where the ankle strap sits to how you adjust the high back rotation and pretty much everything. It's just a nice meat and potatoes binding. If you liked the classic Force before they came out with the new version of it, you're gonna love this binding. It is very similar to it. It is more damp, however, I will say, just because it does have a thicker footbed on it, and it feels a little bit more sturdy, where you actually feel nice and locked in. The ankle straps are extremely comfortable, where you can really ratchet those things down and not have an issue there. The toe straps didn't really fit my square toe box too well, but once I popped them up and threw them on top of my toes, I had zero issues with them. Number 2 is going to be the Nitro One. This is going to be our most expensive binding on the list, but that is for good reason. You get plenty of tech and features in this thing. Starting off with the heel cup, it does have that air pocket that Nitro uses, so it is going to be nice and damp, absorb all of that shock, even on the flattest of landings. When you get over to the straps, it is a very minimalistic strap. It is new for this year, where last year they did have a padded strap on it. This year it's going to be more molded. You might look at it and be like, that looks like a cheap piece of crap. It's not. This thing locks you in extremely well. And just moving over to the ratchets, they do sit a little bit higher, so it's easier to climb that ladder on. And since we're talking about the ladders, we'll just go ahead and talk about the main feature on there. If you happen to break your ladder, if it's a super cold day, you step on it, anything like that, they do have metal cables running through it, so you can still get down the mountain and get a replacement part on there. Remember to like, subscribe, click that bell, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of the content we have coming out. Honorable mentions. Remember, these are all great options for bang for your buck binding. They just weren't able to crack our top 5. The first honorable mention is the Nidecker Kaon. This binding is going to be great for that more beginner to beginner intermediate stage where they just need something that's going to last, going to be nice and durable, especially if they have a bigger boot or anything like that. They're a bigger rider in general. This thing has a huge foot tray on it and a very large disc. So if you end up getting thrown over the handlebars and you're torquing on your board from your binding, it's not going to rip out like something with a small disc. You're not going to be cracking a disc. The second honorable mention is going to be the K2 formula. This binding did get a little bit of an upgrade from previous years. It's been in their line forever, but new to this year is they did add a molded strap. They didn't make it the biggest strap out there where it doesn't get all clunky or cumbersome on your boot. It just really grips and articulates your boot extremely well. They do still have the hinge system on the ankle straps, so it is nice and easy to get in and out of where they just sit out of your way. And on those toe straps, they grip any boot extremely well. Whether you have a round toe box or a square toe box, this thing just molds right around it and it's super minimalistic. And the final honorable mention is going to be the Fix Nation. This binding is awesome. It's coming in at one of the lower ends on the price point there, where you're still getting a molded strap on it. So when you do ratchet that thing down, all that padding is going to be coming from your ankle, but this binding does have a unibody construction, so you don't have to fiddle around with a bunch of screws trying to get that boot centered. You can just center it right on the board and not have to worry about moving heel cups or anything like that. Now those toe straps are going to be just like the other fixed toe straps, where if you have a square toe box, it's not going to fit quite as well. You're going to want to flip that thing up and just have it rocking over your toe instead of on top of it. If you're looking for another way to get involved, head on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. Sure, I could explain it here, but we have a great new video over there getting into it really in depth. And the number one bang for your buck binding of the 2025 season is the Yes Select. This binding is loaded with features, from the skate tech to the molded straps to pretty much everything about this binding, where yes, you do get the skate tech, so getting from heel to toe makes it a little bit easier for you. It's going to be nice and damp because it does have a really thick foam footbed on it as well. But the main thing here is going to be the straps, where you do get that molded ankle strap, which is going to be a little bit more rigid than the previous one that they had on it. And then you're going to have a molded toe strap. It fits any toe extremely well. You can just rock it right on top of the toe there or over it. It doesn't matter. It grips my square toe box well. I've seen it grip rounded toe boxes well. It doesn't matter. This binding isn't going to allow as much side-to-side play in it as others on this list. Just because of that skate tech, it keeps it a little bit more rigid and controlled there. But when you're going heel to toe, you can really drive into it and use that force behind you. This binding is going to be great for when it comes to just all mountain or all mountain free riding. It really doesn't matter. It'll handle any condition that you put in front of it, especially if you're on that beginner to intermediate scale. You can definitely keep this thing and just keep going as you progress in your riding. You might have to change boards, but you don't have to change this binding. As always, guys, I've been your host, TC, and this has been our top 5 best bang for your buck bindings of the 2025 season. If you still need some more information on any of these bindings, why don't you go check out our reviews on them, and we got everything you need to know.